If you're on the search for children's medicine, many pharmacy shelves will probably look something like this.
We're at the point where almost all liquid medication for children are unavailable.
Earlier this month, Health Canada announced they have secured a foreign supply of children's medicine, which will be available in pharmacies in the coming weeks.
Medications will start appearing on store shelves starting early next week.
However, it's been more than a week since that update, and some Edmonton pharmacies have yet been able to restock their shelves and say the Tylenol and Advil shortage is the least of their concerns.
Prescription drugs are starting to become shorter as well. A lot of liquids, not just amoxicillin, but some of the other antibiotic liquids as well. I'm more concerned about the antibiotic shortages because with antibiotic use sometimes for more severe conditions, things such as a pneumonia, if that's not treated promptly, that can lead to even life-threatening problems.
There's been more of this and less of this. And while the federal government has assured one shipment of children's pain medication from the U.S. has arrived in Canada, it won't say how much.
Quantities have been established, but because of confidential business information, I'm not able to share them.
Confidential, how many doses Canadians can expect to receive of a medicine for their children that there's a shortage of?
It's the information of those companies that are importing.
Federal officials details about its newly secured sources of cold and flu remedies from abroad will be made public soon, and another shipment of product from Australia is expected later this month.
Let's bring in Dr. Mark Siegel. Dr. Siegel, good to see you. There's a lot of scary things, quite frankly, that are happening here. First of all, you've got the emergency rooms in this country filling up with these young patients. What is happening here?
Well, Sandra, it's the very old and the very young. I want to start by saying that we're seeing 7 per 100,000 elderly that have been hospitalized this season for an upper respiratory or respiratory infection, which is 10 times what we saw last year. But you know what's even worse than that? Under 17 years of age, children, 50 out of 100,000 is the statistic, way more than 10 times what we usually see. What are we seeing? We're seeing an enormous flood of hospitals from a combination of RSV infections, which is an upper respiratory infection. The smaller you are, the smaller your airways, the easier they get clogged. Flu is raging back this year as we predicted it would. As Jillian just said, we don't have a lot of immunity to flu from last season where we had very small outbreak. And
kinds of shortages.
But the latest supply issue that we're seeing is raising some concerns tonight. Experts are warning of an amoxicillin shortage, a popular antibiotic, especially for children. And this is just the latest drug shortage we're hearing about.
All right, Jessica Formoso joins us now with more on what's behind these supply concerns. Jessica.
Good evening, Stephen. Teresa, according to the FDA's website, the U.S. is facing a shortage of over 120 prescription drugs. On that list, amoxicillin, like you said, and Adderall. Doctors say drug shortages are not uncommon. However, what's concerning is the timing of the shortage. We are seeing a lot of respiratory viruses and bacterial infections and folks with mental health issues who need these prescription drugs.
Thanksgiving might focus instead on the children.
It's horrible. They can't tell you exactly what's wrong. You're scared as a parent.
Josh Zemansky's daughter Ariana finally getting over RSV, which together with the flu and COVID continues to afflict record numbers of kids, crowding pediatrician offices and emergency rooms.
Our pediatrician's office sent out a note pretty much saying that they have extended hours, but unless it's extremely serious, they can't see the kids. I feel grateful that we're not trying to get in right now.
He should be grateful as well that Ariana got the medicine she needed when she needed it, since the FDA this week confirmed widespread nationwide shortages of amoxicillin, the fast-acting and great-tasting yummy med that kids actually enjoy. In Canada, meanwhile, a widespread shortage of children's Tylenol and Advil is sending Canadians across the border, including to International Falls.
New at 11, nationwide shortages of crucial medications like amoxicillin, Tamiflu, and even Adderall are being felt here in the Carolinas. WCNC Charlotte's Julia Kaufman tells us how pharmacies are seeking solutions to get families their medicine.
Flu and cold seasons are here. Many families struggling to find the remedies they need. The lack of amoxicillin scaring parents like Michael Burnett.
Really caught us off guard and just kind of made the situation feel like it was never going to end.
He called several Charlotte stores before finding amoxicillin at a small pharmacy in Fort Mill for his sick 17-month-old twins.
If we hadn't heard from somebody to try this random mom and pop store, we would have pretty much been left helpless.
3 different pharmacies tell me their suppliers have had issues restocking other medications like Tamiflu and Adderall too.
We've never had this many medications at one time be so difficult to source.
Dr. Amy Small with
Shalom Yashua Shalom. Kala Layam, Allah Hayanawa, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yawashai, Ba'ashem Rakaha Kwadash. Yahweh being the name of the Father who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh, meaning He exists. Hashem meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His name is Yahweh Shai, meaning He delivers. Bahashem meaning in the name. Rakaha Kwadash, Spirit Holy, Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach well and rule well, who taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akyam, the fellow laborers, the hopeful elect, pushing this truth at risk of their own lives throughout the 4 corners of the earth. And to the Akwith listening, Akwathium, listening and learning in sincerity and in truth and in silence, Shalom. Akyam, meaning brothers. Akwathium, meaning sisters. Shalom, meaning peace, be unto you. This is your brother Shema from the Pillars of Benjamin camp, here in Toronto with another lesson. Right? And we saw those sound bites from multiple different news outlets, right? Within Canada, within America, Babylon the Great, right? But they're all saying the same thing. We ain't got no medicine. Or what we have is going to run out. Right? Jeremiah 51, verse 8. And it reads, this is the book of Jeremiah 51, verse 8. And it reads, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Right, and we're seeing the dismantling of this place via the hand of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right, howl for her. You know what it means to howl? Deep lamenting, like a group of women at a funeral. Right? Take balm for her pain. Balm, healing ointment. Right? What are the healing ointments? Stimulus, tax cuts, politician promises. Right? For her pain. Right? And Babylon the Great, America the Great, is in pain. And it's only going to wax worse. If so be, she may be healed. Right? None of these things, none of these healing, none of these stimulus packages, handouts, bailouts is going to heal Babylon the Great, America the Great. Let's look at this in the NLT. Jeremiah 51 verse 8. But suddenly Babylon too has fallen. Weep for her. Give her medicine. Perhaps she can be healed. NIV. Babylon will suddenly fall and be broken. Wail over her. Get balm for her pain. Perhaps she can be healed. And there's no healing for this pain that is coming. Jeremiah 51 verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, America, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Let everyone go into his own country, right? And you're seeing people leave America the Great. An influx of Babylonians have ended up in Mexico, man. And you're going to start to see Elam leave and Moab leave. Right? For her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Right? In this place, there's nothing that can be done that's going to stop these plagues from visiting America the Great. 2nd Ezra 16. Second Ezra 16 verse 17, and it reads, "Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days?" Right? And this is what the prophet, this is what the prophet Ezra said when he was having his visions, man. He was asking the angel, who's going to deliver me in those days, man? Right? The spirit of Ezra is back in the latter days, and we are in the latter days. Right? I just wanted to know who's going to get me who's going to get me through those hard times, the times that are coming. Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows. This is what Ezra was inquiring about. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Right? The beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. Right? And we're seeing the beginning of famine and great death, man. We're seeing the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Right? The powers being the governments, they're standing in fear. The beginning of evils means bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right? I just wanted to know. Right? What is my instruction when these times start to visit in the last days? Verse 19. Behold, famine and plague. Right? This is how the Lord's visiting America the Great, Babylon the Great. By famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Right? So the Most High is sending these things. Right? And He's not going to let up. Revelation. I want to get Nahum. Nahum 3 verse 19. And it reads, there is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. Right, this is talking about Nineveh. Right, America is spiritual Nineveh, spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt, Assyria. Right, there is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee, bruit means report. All that hear is about your, all these nations that hear of your demise. Right, all that hear the bruit of thee, the report, shall clap their hands over thee. For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? Right, these other nations are going to see your fall. NLT, there's no healing for your wound. Your injury is fatal. All who hear of your destruction will clap their hands for joy. Where can anyone be found who has not suffered from your continual cruelty? Right? Right? The Most High is not going to show any mercy. Right? Let's close Revelation 6. Matter of fact, I want to get Ezekiel 7. Ezekiel 7 verse 15, and it reads, and this is going into what happened to Judah, southern kingdom, during the time of the Babylonian captivity. Right? This applies to what's going to take place in America the Great, Babylon the Great. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. right? The cities of America. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, right? The rural areas, the outskirts of the city, they're going to die with the sword. And he that is in the city, and why are they going to die with the sword? Because people are going to leave the cities and go into the rural areas looking for food, man. Right? Kick off their doors, rummaging and ravaging, right? And he that is in the city, those that are in the cities, famine and pestilence, right? Starvation and disease shall devour him, right? And this is how the Lord's going to get down, man. Right? These multiple news reports of shortages of medicine. This is just the tip of the iceberg, man. Right? When the healthcare system breaks, when the emergency room system breaks, when the ambulance systems break, all hell listen. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be nice. Revelation 6 verse 8. And it reads, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him." Hell, a condition, the grave, right? "And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth." The fourth part of the earth is America. "To kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth," right? And just listen. Sword, hunger, death, and the beasts of the earth. Teeth of wild beasts. Death, starvation. Sword being a killing instrument. Because people are going to be in kill or be killed mode. Take or be taken mode. No love for their neighbor. Love of many waxing cold. You think it's bad now where people now they're on demon time. Demons are on them. Spirits of vengeance are on them. Right? Much less when all hell's breaking loose and you're hungry and you ain't got no medicine, or you just watched your child die from pestilence. Stay prayed up, pray without ceasing. Shalom to the hopeful elect.